Good morning, everyone. We already have the presentation here. My name is Shashikant. I am part of Onebeat here in India. So Onebeat is a tool that is based on machine learning and artificial intelligence, and it comes from the country of innovation, Israel, and from the house of Goldratt. The work of Onebeat is pretty simple, that it helps any and every retailers optimize their inventory within the season. What do we mean by that? This basically means that we are able to deploy the in-season inventory in such a way that majority of it gets sold at a full price and there is lesser inventory for you to sell at the end of the season. I'm also joined by Kunal here, who's the VP of Being Human. He looks at integrated planning and strategy across all the channels as well as for international business for Being Human. What we are planning to do here is to go through a case study for Being Human to understand how Being Human used the power of machine learning and artificial intelligence for Onebeat to ensure that whatever inventory they have already planned and bought for their season, they're able to deploy it in such a way that it is sold off, the majority of it is sold off at full price within the season, and it also helps increase the consumer satisfaction, right? So I'll start off with something which is common across every retailer, which is the aspiration part, right? Every retailer wants to ensure that they want to have a profitable business while ensuring that the consumer experience or the customer experience is good and consistent throughout the season, right? When we look at it from a product or an inventory point of view, there is a lot that goes into ensuring that this aspiration becomes a reality, right? It is all about ensuring that you keep the right product at the right time and the right place to ensure that there is conversion, higher profitability, which leads into great consumer experience. It is all about consumer experience at the end of the day, right? So now a consumer has two touch points with every brand. One is the store that they are visiting, and the second is the inventory that is kept within the stores. If you have a really great store and not so good inventory, it might not work. But on the other hand, if you have a not so good store but great inventory, then also it's a problem. So every every brand needs to ensure that they are utilizing or capitalizing on both of them to pull consumers to them, right? So now from this aspect, let us understand the aspiration of Being Human and some of the challenges that we faced that they had. First of all, again, like any other retail brand, Being Human wanted to ensure that they have freshness, which is a lot of options across men's and women's wear across in their stores, as well as they wanted to ensure availability of relevant products. Relevant is very important here. Relevant products in their stores. But this is an aspiration. There is a reality attached to it, which is that I don't have a smart system like Onebeat, and I have to rely on manual allocation and manual replenishment to ensure that I'm sending the inventory from the warehouse to the store. Now, from a retailer's point of view, every time when a retailer looks at the inventory in the warehouse, they're like, I want to sell this. So I want to keep it in the store and I don't want to keep it in the warehouse, right? What will it do staying in the warehouse and not being in the store? So they'll deploy majority of it in the stores within the first hit, which is what we call initial allocation. And that is where the challenge lies, right? So I want to ensure that I am keeping enough availability and freshness and I have manual allocation. The undesired effect is what? That I have less aggregation in the warehouse. What does less aggregation do? That I am not able to respond to the actual demand or the real-time demand that happens throughout the season. Now there is one more reality, which is that not every product sells at the same rate of sale across all the store, right? If I have hundreds of stores across my network, the same product might sell really well in a north store, not probably well in a south store or a west store, and sells really well in a east store, but vice versa. Right? That's a reality. So what does it do? I have less aggregation in the warehouse, and my rate of sales are not really that good. I'll end up creating surplus and shortages in my store, right? And that starts the journey of bad customer experience. My customer will come to the store, they'll see that I don't have the right set, right? Pivotals or non-pivotals, right? Every consumer would would want that pivotal size because that's the general need. They won't find that, they'll start the chain of a bad customer experience. Now, because I have surplus and shortages in the store, and I don't have enough aggregation in the warehouse, I'm not keeping much in the warehouse, what it will do, first of all, my inventory gets stuck in the wrong place. That I don't have, I'm keeping the inventory, but it's stuck in the store where it is not selling. Now, because I don't have aggregation in the warehouse, I don't have it to sell it to the stores where it is selling really well, which is best sellers, right? We always come from a school of thought that the same product can sell really well in one store and can be a slow mover for another store. So you can't look at the product with the same scale. You have to look at it from a bestseller in one store and slow mover from another store. Now both of them combined lead to low sell-through, right? And you always want to optimize or increase your sell-through of full price. Increasing the full sell-through might happen, but it will come at a cost of profits. It will come at a cost of margin. So you want to optimize or increase your full season sell-through. But that doesn't happen because I'm not keeping much in the warehouse. Then I'll get into the same cycle. I'll do heavy discounting either within the season or end of the season. June, July comes in, December, January comes in. My consumer will start coming to my malls, my stores. They would want to buy at a 40% off, 50% off. I'm able to sell it off, right? I'll hit my targets in terms of quantity, inventory turns, but not in terms of profit. And or the day I want to build profit, right? And then huge impact on profitability. That is just one side of the story. Another side of the story, because I'm keeping so much in the stores, I'll probably sell less of what I want to sell within the season. I'll have to carry it forward to the next season. So you'll have a lot of high carry forwards to the next season. What does that do? Now, a combination of not a lot of cash flow as well as a lot of carry forward from the last season will impact three things. I won't have a lot of cash in my bank. Because I don't have a lot of cash in my bank, expansion always takes a hit. I can't plan for more stores, I can't plan for more range and all of that, and that impacts my inventory. I already have so much in my store, why do I want to deploy more, right? It again affects my customer experience. The customer will come into my store next season, they'll see the same product, they'll be like, what is happening to this brand? And then the cycle continues. So the aspiration which stays that I want to ensure freshness and availability kind of reduces. Right? They say that I want to do that, but there is so much in my stores and warehouse from the previous seasons, it's not making sense to me. I have to get into a cycle where I'm like, I want to push this off from my stores, and then maybe we can do something about it. So this becomes a complete infinite loop and it continues. Now, how do you break this loop? That is where, Onebeat comes in, or the way we have built the tool, especially the newer cloud tool that we are working on through machine learning mostly, and then a layer of decision making through artificial intelligence, is that it looks at all of this problem into silos, and there are levers that we work on to solve for this challenge. Being human, and this challenge comes from being human, right? Similar challenge. How did we work around it? Firstly, there are two parts. One is you challenge your initial allocation. How much am I sending to the stores to reduce it to a level where I am ensuring that I'm sending enough. Secondly, I am ensuring that there is no visual starvation. My store is not looking good. Thirdly, I am ensuring that I have enough in the warehouse, right? Now, because I have enough in the warehouse, plus there is a tool like Onebeat, which is looking at the demand on an actual basis and saying that, you know what, this is the demand, send this to the warehouse, send this from the warehouse to this store, send this from the warehouse to this store. You are able to work and work in real time to ensure that I am able to capitalize on the demand of the consumer. Earlier, what was happening? If I'm buying 100 pieces, 90, 85, 90 pieces, I'm sending to the store right away because I know I'm manually going to do replenishment. I might not able to send it. A lot of problems. It is very manual or labor intensive. But when you have a tool like Onebeat, you might as well drop from an 85 to 90% initial allocation to a 65-70% initial allocation. You know, Kunal can talk more about it. To ensure that I have enough in the warehouse, that I can ensure I'm sending more as and when needed. So that's the first part. Now, we come from a school of thought that store transfers are not your friend. They are more of a way to deal with problems when the water has hit the roof, right? Because they come with one, logistics cost. Second, there is an opportunity lost. I'm already 3 months into the season. I'm then doing a store transfer. What about those 3 months where I could have capitalized keeping it in the warehouse and then doing it, right? So when you do more aggregation in the warehouse, you are ensuring that I'm reducing my store transfers. I'm selling more because I'm sending it through replenishment, as well as I'm ensuring that the consumer experience increases, because at the end of the day, that's the most important part. But we still come from a school of thought that there will be some products which sell out really well within 2 months or 3 months, right? So you'll need to do store transfers or consolidation because you'll have 1 or 2 pieces here and there lying. You need to pull them together, keep it in the best store which sells really well for that product or that category. So then we get into the whole idea of store transfer. You have initial allocation and you reduce the initial allocation, you have more replenishment, ensures more aggregation in the warehouse, I'm doing more replenishments. Because of that, I have lesser store transfers. I'm using store transfer more from a balancing and consolidating point of view, where I see that there is nothing left in the warehouse, but that product sells really well in that store, it is kept in that store. I want to send it from here to here because I have a window of full price sell-through. I want to make that 50%, 60% and just not make COGS on that particular product, sell it for 50% off, right? I'm doing store transfers. There's initial allocation, replenishment, store transfers. What does it do? It ensures that the right product is available at the right time in the right stores. It increases your consumer experience because at the end of the day, it is all about consumer experience, right? What does that do? Higher sell-throughs. You have lesser discounts, more higher profitability. You have lesser products to carry forward to the next store. And you're kind of breaking the cycle. So these are the levers, right? I'm keeping more in the warehouse. I have aggregation. Ellie Goldratt, who's the father of Goldratt Consulting, which is what Goldratt Consulting or Onebeat is based on, teaches the same thing. Keep more in the warehouse. You can be more reactive. You can react through replenishment with lesser cost or operations cost. And that is what the result is, right? And at the end of the day, I have more money in the bank. I can think of my aggregation, or I can think of increasing my width. I can think of store expansion. And that is how we solve the challenge. So now to, just talk about the solution part. Is the same problem or is the same thing that I talked about in the last slide. First of all, we challenge the initial allocation to ensure aggregation. What does that aggregation do? It ensures that I have time for replenishment. It ensures that I have enough in the warehouse that I can react to the real-time demand. I'll do more replenishment. Once I've done more replenishment, I'll start doing mid-season store transfers to balance the inventory, ensure it's going from a store where it's not selling to a store where it's selling with because I don't have anything in the warehouse left. And lastly, consolidation to do that last push, ensure that I'm achieving my full price sell-through before I get into USS. So this is the whole idea of how did we, we identified the problem for being human, we put up a solution, and the results are, they are right in front of you. First of all, we increase the replenishment by 4 times. What does this mean? That because a product sells really well in a store, it is a bestseller, I'm able to just send it from the warehouse and it is not stocked out for 30 days, 45 days. Because of that, my average inventory in the stores, earlier if I was keeping 100 pieces to sell the same amount of to do the same amount of sales, I'm probably keeping 79 pieces only to have the same amount of sales. My stores don't look filled up to the brim. I have lesser. Because I'm keeping lesser in terms of depth, I'm able to deploy more. Right?
I have one question. Does your solution work faster than your presentation?
It works really fast.
It clearly doesn't because you're out of time.
Sure. I'll just finish it.
No, you won't just finish it.
Sure.
Okay, finish it. Hurry up. How much time?
Lastly, store transfer, whatever we transferred, 43% of it got sold within a month's time. The last is obviously what everyone wants to know, sell-throughs. So now that's the end of my presentation.
Okay, now I have no time for him.
You can have Q&A.
No, we can't have Q&A. All right, come on. 1 minute.
Kunal would, if you would like to speak.
Okay, hello. Yeah. Thanks, Shashi, for taking everyone through a detailed presentation. I'll just keep it, as Anish was saying, I'll keep it very short and sweet on this one. So I look at all the results, any result that you look at from 3 perspectives. One is the results, obviously, but also how the pace of implementation was and how the adaptability of the product was. For me, results are there to be seen, yeah. Okay. So results are there to be seen. He has just shown you. 4 times increase. My average inventory at the store has gone down. My option width has increased at the store, and so on and so forth. But the software aspect of the same is that ease of implementation was very smooth. We went live in about 4 weeks' time. I think so. That's what the ease of implementation was. Adaptability again. When you look at adaptability from that perspective, first it's been about 7-8 months that we've implemented Onebeat. I've not seen any challenge with my team. They have adopted very fastly. They are generally, most of the time, they are running the report all by themselves, and the results are there to be seen, and they are implementing very fast. So adaptability has been very quick. So I think so. Apart from the results that we have seen here, these 2 software aspects of the tool also helps a lot in implementation. And yeah, we are very excited with the results that we have seen, and we look forward to a continued journey with Onebeat. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Anish.
Jerry?
Yes. So 2 questions for Shashi. Shashi, it was wonderful presentation, though it was out of time, but the confidence level was really high. So I understand that you have worked in deep in this, right? So question number 1 is that it is an AI-based aggregation or aggregation platform, right? But for fast fashion, when you don't have a lot of similar SKUs, you have unique SKUs. So how does AI work? Because every season you have a different kind of products altogether. Yeah, correct.
So first of all, the way the product is built, the first layer is of machine learning, because we're taking data on a daily basis, plus we're taking last 2-3 years of data to understand what are the trends. And then there's one layer of AI, which is just to ensure what human does, to ensure which statistical model do I change to. And then from a operations point of view, on a daily basis, it changes what the replenishment looks like. My replenishment in my EOSS or Diwali would be very different from a normal time period. Now, to answer to your question, the suite is built in such a way that I have replenishment, I have store transfers, as well as I have initial allocation and the assortment part. For products that work on fast fashion, there is not a lot that I can do in terms of replenishment, because I've already deployed almost 95% of it into initial allocation. But that is where store transfer is a much bigger thing than replenishment. We have a client right now, and we're working on a case study with them. They've already approved it. They also work on the same model. They're dropping options every 15 days, right? There's only 5% of replenishment they want to keep in the warehouse. We run 3 store transfers for them within a month. Just those 3 store transfers ensure that, whatever rebalancing needs to be done happens through Onebeat. 2 of them are cluster based and 1 of them is basically across the nation. to ensure we aggregate, we send whichever product selling best to whichever stores. So it's just not one part of replenishment, right? I'll aggregate it to the warehouse and then I'll solve the problem. If I don't have anything in the warehouse, what do I do? That is where store transfer is very much important in a fast fashion kind of an environment to solve for the same challenge.
Second question is that from a scalability's point of view, like I can understand for fast fashion probably it will work, or season fashion it will really work wonder because you can do the aggregation as well as best selling strategy. For perishable items, for store specific strategies, because as you correctly said, every store has different kind of demand pattern, and that will not give you kind of a graph of 2-3 years because it is different products altogether. So how that store specific logic will work so that you can scale for other brands, because whatever I heard, it was a specific problem statement for being human, but if I have to scale this product, how customizable you are and how will you adapt those generic use cases?
So first of all, we are not just a product that is built for fashion. We have the portfolio of clients that we have is from fashion, it's from footwear, it's from pharma, then it's from eyewear, then it's from watches. We have DIY, we have Bosch in South America. We're working across 24 plus countries. The only industry that we work on, that we don't work on, is FMCG, and that's a cognitive call that we have taken because the problem statement there is very different. So we are trying to solve problems for these environments where they want to ensure that I want to sell really well, but I also want to optimize on my inventory because working capital is a problem for me and it sits in my balance sheet, right? So I want to ensure my balance sheet is healthy as well as my income statement is healthy.
Thanks. This is Bhavesh. During the Bhai Ka birthday spike, how did you manage the whole thing?
I've been working in retail for the last decade now. First of all, I said this to Kunal. I've never seen something like this in my life. First of all, Bhai is you can't talk about it, right? He's so big in India, but our feature that we have built is special events. And the
Yeah, because what I was wanting to ask you was that, see, the normal festival spikes you are aware about based on the last year's data. But
Correct.
this kind of spike where you don't know, because Bhai is always promoting that.
Correct.
And you don't have an idea that, maybe in tier 2 city it might work and tier 1 city it might not work.
Correct.
So how did you manage to do that?
So just for those 4 days, and it's crazy, let me tell you about it. Just for 4 days, we have a special tool, which is very much different and apart from, the regular BAU stuff that we do. It's called special events that really uses the AI part. We look at the last 2 to 3 years of data, we let Onebeat learn from it, and then that is how, the demand is decided. That if I was selling probably like 3-4 pieces during a regular season within one replenishment time, and I'm selling 20 here, I'm making AI learn how to go from that 3 to 20. So all being human had to do was to tell us, you know what, we are doing this from this date to this date. In the last 2 years, we did it from this date to this date, and these are the products. So AI learned it.
Thank you. Thanks.
And that is how we did it.
Thanks.
Thank you.